like I'm on the outside looking in. Or like, you know, like I see this life and this moment and it's so wonderful, but it doesn't quite belong to me. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that song's one of my favorite now, and one of my favorite actresses, also here with us, Shailene Woodley, plays a critical acclaimed role of Jane Chapman on HBO's hit series Big Little Lies. Woodley takes on a new challenge in the upcoming movie Adrift. She stars as a woman who fights for survival after she and her fiancé unexpectedly sail right into a hurricane.
Mayday, mayday, this is the sailing Arizona. Does anyone copy? Hello? Our last recorded position was 129 degrees west and latitude 12 north. Does anyone copy? Hello?
Adrift is based on the true story of Tami Oldham Ashcraft, who endured Hurricane Raymond in the Pacific Ocean in 1983. She battled 40-foot waves and survived at sea for 41 days before being rescued. Shailene Woodley, who is also a producer of the movie, is joining us now. Good morning. Great to have you on set.
Thank you.
So I have to say, I took my 6-year-old to see a movie yesterday solo, and the trailer for Adrift came up, and I'm thinking, how's he going to react to this, because it's quite intense.
Yeah.
He's not a great swimmer. He turns to me and he says, if I learn how to swim, can I survive that? And I thought, you know what? I'm not sure, but if that's motivation, it'll get you there.
Oh my gosh, I love the thinking behind
Of a
that.
6-year-old.
The processing.
But you did your own stunts. The director said that you are a superhero without a cape. Talk about that process.
I think he was actually referring to Tami, the real life Tami is the superhero without the cape. But yeah, I got really lucky. I mean, we filmed this movie, over 90% of it in the open ocean, which just never happens. We were filming outside of Fiji, and it would take us 2 hours by speedboat to just get to our shooting location. And it was remarkable. You know, being in the open seas and working with the elements in that way is so rare because we're so used to sound stages and green screen. But every day would just put in perspective of what this, you know, this woman went through in real life.
That can't be easy, though, filming out in the open water. I mean, I remember reading about when they tried to shoot Jaws out in the open water.
Yeah.
Nothing worked.
Nothing worked.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's worth it. I mean, you know, we got lucky. I love the water and am a strong swimmer, and Sam Claflin, who's also in the film, is as well, and the whole crew was willing to play ball. And
But you learned to sail for this.
yeah, I had to learn to sail, which was amazing. I knew nothing about sailing beforehand, and I don't know that I'd ever choose to go out on a sailboat alone, but if I had to,
You're ready.
Now you
get
can.
through it. Yeah.
Well, you met the real-life Tami Oldham. She, in fact, wanted you to play her. I mean, what did she tell you about what she went through, and how did you take from her into this role?
Well, we got lucky. So she wrote a book, which is what the film is based on, and oh, she's so wonderful. Which is what the book is, or the film's based on, and the book had a lot of detail, and she was really generous and open when we had more questions to ask. But it's such a sensitive subject that I think we were all very aware of what might be a traumatizing question and what is an appropriate question, and she was very generous with what she gave us.
And unlike you, she continues to sail even to this day. She's like still into it, even though she went through this horrifying ordeal.
A lot of people say, oh, it's a woman versus nature story, and I like to say it's a woman working with nature. You know, that which caused her the most pain in a way, which is the ocean, is also that which helped save her life. And I think that forgiveness that she's been able to reconcile or work with in her own mind and body and heart is what has allowed her to sail today.
And when you choose roles, especially roles that you're now participating in on screen and off as a producer, what makes you decide to go for a real life story as opposed to fiction?
Oh man, I mean, this one grabbed me because of the love story component, and also when it's real, it raises the stakes. As an audience member, you watch it, and I think in this day and age of big movies and a lot of fantastic, you know, mysticism, things that aren't real, it's hard to grasp a relatability factor. And for me, when I watch something that's real, it just immediately reminds me, I guess, of my own life and how lucky we are to be alive, and puts everything in perspective, and also helps you know you're not alone in your process.
Yeah.
When you're playing a real person, though, I mean, does that come with some greater responsibility?
For sure. Not because Tami put any pressure on me at all, but there's so much self-inflicted pressure of, you know, ultimately we hope audiences love the film, and we hope that critics love the film and you guys love it, but we really wanted to make this for her. We wanted to pay tribute to her story, their story, her and Richard's story, and So she was the #1 critic that I was the most, aware of.
Yeah, they were soulmates, and
Yeah.
Richard Sharp and Tami. And I wonder, for people who will say, well, I know how it ends because it's a true story, what would you say to them? Because there is a beautiful love story there.
Yeah, they may know the real story, but they may not know how that real story unfolded. And for me, what was so powerful, because I'm just such a sucker for love. I love love.
Who isn't that?
I love love. It was the love that aided the survival. And without that love, survival may have not existed. And so I think this film does a beautiful job at explaining how that occurs. And yeah, who doesn't love love, and who can't relate to love?
Right. So many people can relate to Jane Chapman, right? And Big Little Lies, your character. Come back for season 2 now. So many people are anticipating this film, the show restarting and launching a new season. Huge hit, but it also hits a different tone now with people and identifying with the Me Too movement. It's something that the show really delves into. Talk about what we can expect in season 2.
Well, I can't say much.
Come on, Shailene. Give us a little something,
You
something.
got Meryl Streep, that you
Yeah,
get.
we got Meryl Streep, which
Yes.
is just absolutely insane. She's so incredible. But yeah, I think people really responded to Big Little Lies the first season. I think they'll, respond to the second season, because the producers and the writers and everyone involved in the show isn't afraid to go there and to talk about domestic violence and to talk about things that happen to most people on this planet and yet very rarely get told in mainstream media and in cinemas and in shows. So I think people will just continue to feel like they're not alone in their stories.
That's awesome. Can't wait to see it. Are you running for office? You've talked about it.
Who knows? Never say never. I don't know.
Never say never.
Not this year.
Shailene Woodley, thank you very much. Adrift opens in theaters on Friday.